Welcome to a GCN training session. Yes, you've come to the place where sweat has become the norm, where pain is temporary and quitting lasts forever, where we become fitter, faster, and stronger. You've signed up for a 30-minute session. In this 30 session, we've got 2 10-minute blocks. They're going to start as kind of sweet spot intervals, but they're then going to pop up to a 30-second sprint and then back into sweet spot. This is going to help you on improving your FTP, so your functional threshold power, and it's also going to help with your sprint and your VO2 max. So this kind of covers all the bases in just 30 minutes. But for now, we're going to look at a 4 minutes warm up, get the blood going, get everyone warmed up and ready for what's going to be quite hard but beneficial session. Now, it's not just me in the GCN gym or the GCN training center. No, we've got a few people with us to help bring us all through this session, all the way to the very end. We've got Katie Scott there, racer on the front. We've got Caer as well, also on the front. And then at the back there, we've got Maddie and Liam. So we've got a full peloton of hardy cycling athletes. They're there not only to show you what we're doing and to help you with motivational reasons, but also have a look at their position on the bike, their pedaling action, and if you're struggling on where we are in the session or what cadence to sit at, then they're the ones to watch, really. I'm also going to walk you through the session. I'm going to tell you when to end each interval and when to hit it nice and hard. But for now, spin out those legs. We've got perceived effort of 3, and that's meant to be nice and easy. We're just warming up. So 4 minutes of warm up before we come close to those 2 10-minute blocks. We're then going to have 5 minutes nice and easy between them. And hopefully, at the end of this session, you will feel like you've done some good, hard work. During a warm-up, we want to kind of like increase the resistance. Now, you can increase the resistance on your stationary bike, whether that's pulling a lever or a lever if you're American, or it's engaging a few more gears. So if I shout more gears or add another gear, that's basically saying increase resistance. Now you may have cadence sensor, heart rate monitor, and this is going to help you judge your effort. But we go on a perceived effort of 10 being the hardest and perceived effort of 1 being your easiest. And that's just a guide. So when you see on screen the perceived effort scale, that you can use that as a guide to how hard you need to go within the effort. Right, so we've got 2 to 1 minute, 1 second, and then we're still at a perceived effort of 3. So that's basically crystal cranking. And we say that in the peloton as just kind of treating your cranks as glass. Don't want to break them, we don't want to go too hard. We're just kind of, doing the pedaling motion without putting too much effort in. 30 seconds. You can think about adding a bit more resistance if you fancy it. We're looking at a cadence of around 80 to 95. I'm not too worried about what cadence you're on now, because remember, this is kind of the warm-up, but you want to slowly start feeling yourself into the session. It's always the most difficult bit, is getting on the bike. Once you're on it, once your blood's going around, once you feel nice and limber, you'll be ready in no time to hit these efforts with a bit of panache. Love that word. Right. Smiles all round. Won't be for long. 50 seconds now. Now we've chucked up to a perceived effort of 6. So I reckon it's about time we add a few more gears to the party. So let's add another gear. And all this is doing is adding a bit of resistance, making us push on the pedals that bit harder. Now it's really good when you come to an indoor session like this and we've cut it up, we've broken it down for you, we created the intervals. So when you first look at it, you think 30 minutes of hard exercise is going to absolutely waste you, but trust me, when you get into it, when you're focusing on each effort as a singular effort, it actually flies by real quick. And before you know it, you'll be getting off your bike, having done a hard effort, having done a hard session, and you'll reap the benefits. So let's drop down a gear and then spin up the legs again. So what we've done there is we've added resistance. So we pushed on the pedals and then we backed off, increasing our RPM. And all we're doing now is encouraging blood flow to the muscles and basically forcing our muscles to warm up and preparing them for the efforts that are gonna come. Really nice work there, team. Nice work from you at home. Wherever you are, what bike you're riding, whether it's night, day, lunchtime or breakfast time. We're all in it together. And what I want you to do now is add a bit more resistance. So we're just going up, down in our efforts. A bit more resistance. We've got 2 minutes. And we're coming close to the end of our warm-up. So let's make sure we're sufficiently warmed up. What I want to make sure you've got on board is water. I'm not too worried about towels, although I would suggest you put a towel over your bike just in case, because what I tend to do is sweat all over my bike and then all my bearings get all that salt in there and it's never great for the bike. So if you do have a towel available, draping it over your front of your bike is going to reduce that sweat from pouring into your bearings. But if you don't have one, don't worry, because it's not the end of the world. Your bike will live on. Then again, having liquids on board is going to help your performance, especially when you're sweating it out on the indoor trainer. 30 seconds now. Feeling good, Kai? Boys looking good, as per usual. Katie, how you doing?
Yeah, feeling good. Excited to get these harder efforts started.
Excited to get these hard efforts started.
Yeah.
Said no one ever. But I like it. 10 seconds. It's a bit potluck what's coming up next. Here we go now. So we've just touched into our 10-minute block. And you'll see on the page there is a perceived effort of 10. So we're just going to raise up into that. But I'm not going to force you into a smashing yourself. But try and raise up the cadence. Only 5 seconds more. 2, 1. Now bring it back down to a perceived effort of 7. We are into the meat of the sandwich. So if you think first layer of bread is the warm-up, the meat or the lettuce or tomato, depending on if you're vegetarian or not, that's where we're into now. Let's call it tomato. Right, so this is where you want to find a good amount of resistance. You're looking at a guide of around 80 RPM. This is your sweet spot training. This is where you come back to during any racing or riding. This is improving your functional threshold power. Now, the more comfortable you get at this, the faster you'll go. Because all it's doing is it's increasing your baseline fitness. 55 seconds. So try and hold that effort in your head. So try and think what gear you're on. Try and think of what resistance you've got. Make a mental note of it. And when we pop up for our 30 seconds, we know exactly what to come back to, what to return to. What you'll find is you'll actually, after the harder efforts, this will seem easy. It's because you're pushing the body that bit further, stretching it. So when you drop it back down, your body thinks, it's tricking your body to think it's a nice, easy effort when you're still putting out a good amount of watts and a good amount of energy. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, so start increasing gears. I'm gonna go up. And if you wanna get out of the saddle for 30 seconds, I would suggest you do so, but it's also quite good to do it in the saddle, so we might mix it up during the session. But I like getting the first couple out of the saddle. Just kind of makes me push that bit harder. So in 30 seconds. 3, 2, 1, back in the saddle, and let's find the gear we were in before. Let's find the effort we're in, and then let's settle into it. It's a really good way of eating up time at quite hard intensity. When you chuck in those 30-second efforts, it just breaks up the monotonous of putting out 10 minutes at one consistent wattage. Now, it's not only good for your the mental aspect of pushing through, but it's also good about tricking the muscles. So you should feel it slightly easier. Is that right, Katie?
Yeah, no, definitely.
Feeling a bit more warmed up, and when you like kind of spike the effort, and then you bring it back to a perceived effort of 7,
yeah,
it just feels that bit easier to hold, doesn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
So you should be finding a really nice rhythm. Two minutes is actually quite a nice duration to settle into. By the time you feel it start to bite, you've only got 30 seconds left on the clock. And when you know you've got 30 seconds left on the clock, you know you've got a little 30-second effort ahead. So you're always thinking about finishing that singular effort before you move your mind into the next one. Right, 10 seconds. For you at home, if you fancy getting out of the saddle, please do so. As I say, I quite like doing the harder efforts out of the saddle. 2, 1, I'm gonna change up gear, increase resistance, and I'm gonna pop out of the saddle. On screen, you'll have an RPM of 100. Now that is just a guide. So if you wanna sit in the saddle and rev the resistance into 100 RPM, then you can do so. Or add the resistance, pop out the saddle, and see it as a bit of a hump in the road. 3, 2, 1, back in the saddle, and let's find that rhythm we are in. If my bike can find it. There you go, 2 minutes on the clock. We are absolutely motoring through this set. The finishing line is in sight, but at the moment, let's really just focus on the task in hand, and that's 1 minute, 30 seconds at sweet spot. Let's go. Now you'll feel sufficiently warmed up. We're coming up to the halfway mark of the entire session. So just like that, the session just falls away like a landslide. And you're staring down here, the barrel of the gun, knowing that the finishing line is not far away. 50 seconds, look at that. By now you're gonna feel the bite, you're gonna feel the effort. Don't go chasing for it. Hold it. You'll feel that sensation in the legs that all athletes feel no matter how good they are. where it's that warm burn in the legs. That is a good feeling. That is something to be embraced, and that is something to hold. That is you working hard. That's the muscles being engaged. And just with 15 seconds to go, we're gonna think about another 30-second effort. Now it's your choice how you do this effort, but let's try and bring it up to a perceived effort of 10. Let's go now. I'm gonna hit the big ring. I'm gonna drag myself out of the saddle, and I'm gonna pop over the bump in the road. It's only a short one. Now this is really good for that racing mentality or that racing capability. When an attack goes, you want to respond quickly and succinctly and back in the saddle. So think about this. There's an attack being on the right of the peloton. You popped out the saddle, you bridged the gap, and now you're back on the wheel. So you don't want to get dropped, so you want to hold the intensity. And in 10 seconds, you can back off, and that's your first session done. And 3, 2, 1, ease up. There you go. How did that feel, Katie?
Yeah, felt pretty good. I mean, sweet spot's pretty tough effort. Like, it's not really hard, it's not super easy. It's like, you should focus on pacing yourself, really. And yeah, like I said, it's good to practice that sort of effort, like in a race. You just don't want to let that wheel go. I think we've all been there.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Right, we've got 1 minute. Now, I speak about it a lot during training, but keeping an eye on your breathing is something so many of us forget about. I don't know if you've been in the gym or you've been doing a hard effort and you tend to hold your breath. And all we're doing there is starving our muscles of oxygen. So, when you're doing a hard effort, remember to breathe through the effort. Now, the more intense and the shorter the effort, the more inclined you're going to be to hold your breath, which is absolute madness when you think about it. But it's like a natural human, I think it's like a natural human response, just to hold your breath, say lift a big weight or something, but breathe through it and you'll find it a lot easier. Right, in 10 seconds, we're gonna hit the last set. So that's 10 minutes of hard work left. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So here we go. We're at a perceived effort of 7 on screen. So let's not jump straight into it, but let's work up our gears into that sweet spot mode. So find a nice position on the bike, find a nice cadence, and find the effort you're looking for, and then really try and hone in on that. Breathe through it, and find a rhythm you're comfortable sitting at. Once you've done that, you can then concentrate on your position on the bike. You can lower those shoulders. You can find a more aero position to practice, and you can engage the core, and you can reduce the shoulder movement. Once you've found that position, you want to focus on driving heels down, engaging your glutes. Remember, they're big muscle that you want to engage. And hold that. That's really nice. Really nice. Come on, team. 40 seconds to go. Now have a look at our riders out there. Really nice positions. You can see all the effort is going into the pistons, driving the bike forward and keeping rock steady. You want to be able to balance a pizza on your back if you can. 20 seconds. Remember, the more you practice the position, when it comes to riding on the road, you're going to be more inclined to fall into it. 10 seconds. Really nice. In 2, 1, attack has gone. We want to chase it down. So let's pop out the saddle, or let's engage more resistance, and let's fight for that wheel. You can see it ahead of you. If you imagine a piece of string, you want to kind of pull it in. I tend to do that when I was racing. Reel in the rope from that wheel behind or in front. And once you've got on it, you want to settle back into that rhythm. So there you go, you've got the wheel. The 30 seconds is up. You can reduce the effort and then settle back in. Really nice work. So if you're racing, if you're a racer out there, if you watch a lot of racing, this is kind of the effort that you would sustain in the peloton. You're kind of drifting along, you're in the draft, you're in the slipstream, you're sitting on the wheels. You're not blowing, but you're comfortable, yeah, and you can pose. But you're keeping an eye out for attacks, you're keeping an eye out for the terrain change, you're keeping an eye out for crosswinds. Okay. Now let's give me a few more attacks that we're gonna need to respond to. So remember where your gears are. I'm coming in. Now when you're racing, these come out of nowhere. So this is just teaching you to react. Really nice work. Everyone in the GCN studio, can't speak, is looking really nice. Really nice position, strong, sturdy, firm grips on the bars. Let's try and hold it now. In 2, 1. Here we go now, attack has gone. I'm gonna have to drag myself out the chair and onto the wheel. So 20 seconds of effort. Now this might not be just an attack. This could be, like I say, a rise in the road, a little hump you need to attack over. So you're using the bigger resistance to generate more speed, to force yourself over the saddle or over the hump, and then it's back into the saddle. Now you should find yourself wanting to hold a slightly bigger gear. Now that's only because your body is thinking the effort early was too easy. But just go back to a perceived effort of 7. Nice work. Now your foot should feel more comfortable at this effort now. You should feel that little burn, but nevertheless, it shouldn't feel like you can't hold it. You should be able to hold this for half an hour at the most, or at the least. Another minute. Really nice, Kai. Liam, nice work. Maddie and Katie. Just 7 minutes left of this session. I say it all the time, but try and focus on engaging the glutes. It's a muscle group. Us cyclists always kind of forget about training or activating, and we can lose so much power. Strong on the bike now, stable. you're in the peloton. And in 3, 2, 1, attack has gone. And we're out the saddle. Not many left now. And in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, we're back in the saddle. And we're reducing the resistance. Yes, we've caught the bunch, we've caught the breakaway, we've neutralized the attack, but now we want to hold in there. We want to hold the effort, and the last thing we want to do is get dropped. You could say this is like being in a time trial. You know, when you're on the front and you've got to push over into VO2, and then you save something back for the hardest effort of getting on the back of the train. But as soon as you're on the train, you're settling into this rhythm. Breathe through it, Katie. Really nice work. So my effort has increased by 20% as I've gone through. So, because I'm doing this on feel, I'm just looking at my watts. And because I'm used to going that bit over threshold, just for 30 seconds, my body is hunting for the effort now. 30 seconds, and because we're getting close to that finishing line, we know that we can survive the duration of the effort and the duration of the session. We're thinking ourselves past 15 seconds now. Not sure how many attacks we've got left, but it's only got to be 1 or 2. So let's make them count. 5, 3, 2, 1. That's right. The gears are changing. The effort is increasing. Really nice work. 10 seconds. Just squeeze these last 10 seconds onto the wheel. Squeeze up to it. In 3, 2, 1, you've reached the wheel now. Easy. Back into threshold. Back into sweet spot. Back in to the chair. This is our last 2 minutes of effort. Nice work, team. $130, that's 90 seconds left. So for this last bit, let's try and get nice and aero. Let's find, so everyone here, let's lower our shoulders. Let's roll in our shoulders and our arms. Let's cover the hoods. And engage that core. Really, really nice work. Let's get our bodies used to putting out power in an aerodynamic position. This is you on the front. This is you on your own, putting in a little bit of a dig. Now let's squeeze our way to the finishing line now. 30 seconds. Let's squeeze every muscle, every fiber. Let's get firing. So my wattage is ramping up now. I know I've got 10 seconds left. Come on now. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you're done. 2 minutes recovery. Woo! How did that feel?
Tough. Those surges like really take it out of you, don't they?
But good though, aren't they?
Yeah, no, really good.
You know what it is time for?
What's that?
3, 2, 1. I want to, yeah. All right, 3, 2, 1. Yeah! There you go. That is the end. That marks the end of this session. That marks the warm down. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us on today's training session. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope you loved it. I hope you loved it so much to hit that thumbs up button and share with your friends and know that this is the best session out there. This is the best session around. Show your appreciation and get in that comment section. What I do want to say though is a warm down is absolutely imperative. So if you've got time to stay on for 5-10 more minutes, then please do so. Chuck on GCN Plus. Connor's done some incredible adventure rides with Marcel Kittel. He's ridden the dunes of Mongolia. Loads out there. Or why don't you just chuck on the breakaway or some racing? There's nothing like doing a training session and watching some racing. I think that's the only way to watch it. Anyway, we've got 30 seconds left of our company. I want to have a big thank you to Liam, to Maddie, to Katie and to Kai for giving up their time, for working out with us and to listening to my horrible banter and chat. 20 seconds left. Thank you so much for joining us. And I really hope that you have a good rest of your day or even you're winding down. And I hope this training session has made you a better rider for the future. It's made you stronger and hopefully that little bit fitter. We'll see you in the next video. Ciao for now.
Bye.